Wow. What's up, everyone? I like it up here. How'd y'all like that last session from my older brother? Was it good? I'm his mentor. We always banter. Anthony is really amazing at Facebook fan pages, so that was a great presentation. And today I'm going to walk you a little bit through who I am and Facebook ads and Facebook advertising. I've been on Facebook since day one, literally. The very first ad on Facebook. There were these tiny little Facebook ads in the far right-hand corner. Does anybody remember those by chance? You could barely read them. I was there promoting dating ads for Match.com, Netflix, all sorts of stuff. I've come a long ways, and Facebook has come a long way. And I was asked to come out here and show you one of my biggest top secret strategies. And what's cool about it is it's actually quite simple. One thing that I've been able to do for my students, and I've taught tens of thousands of people Facebook ads, is simplify it for them because people tend to overcomplicate it. So today, I want to talk to you about crushing Facebook ads with video advertising, which is something that I ignored completely. For the longest time, I ignored video ads. Is anybody in here not using Facebook ads at all, by chance? Just raise your hand. Okay, a couple of you. All right. How about video ads? Is anybody not using Facebook video ads? Okay, the majority of you are not using Facebook video ads. Now, I've got to figure out how this clicker thing works here. I think, okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to start out by telling you a little something about myself, because what's interesting about me is that I've never thought I would be on a stage teaching people about success with anything. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. That's a funny photo of me up at the top. You'll experience this during the presentation. I am extremely ADD. I was diagnosed with ADD when I was 12 years old, when I think it was still pretty new. I forget what I'm talking about while I'm talking about it, so take notes and you can remind me if I do that during this presentation. So at 12 years old, I was diagnosed with ADD, and I was actually put in special classes. They wanted to hold me back a couple of grades, and they said I was a slow reader, and they said all of these things. And starting out, I was kind of programmed to think from 12 years old that I was stupid. That's basically what I don't know if my brother mentioned that, but my teachers and everybody just did not think I could keep up. I was that kid always, looking outside the window. I failed my way through high school. I got out. I think my parents paid the school to let me graduate, but I made it. Then I went to college. And by the way, I failed computer class in the 11th grade. I'd love to see my computer teacher now. I was an aspiring law student, so I'm obviously not an attorney right now. I took the LSAT 3 times. I went to the University of Mississippi. Is anybody familiar with Ole Miss by chance? Yeah, hotty toddy. I have a history degree. I don't know what to do with it. I couldn't get into law school because I flunked the LSAT so many times, they wouldn't let me take it again. They said, you got to wait another year before you could take it. Now, y'all already heard my family story. You know my family lost all their money in WorldCom. My brother started doing internet marketing and became quite successful, and he actually put me through college and bought me a car. I had never paid him back for it either. I sold it and I reinvested the money in another car for myself. Thanks, Anthony. So got ahead of myself. But something that you should already kind of know by now if you watched my brother is he's frickin' genius. The dude kills it. Everything he does at 100. And he always grew up being really, really smart, straight A student. He had the bumper sticker, teacher's pet, and all that. I was always in trouble. I always had straight Fs. I was always in detention. Not because I was a bad kid, but I just didn't like school. And after a while, I started to believe that I would never have success. Has anyone in here ever felt like that before? You've just seen somebody else crush it, and you're like, how can I get there, right? I mean, I grew up with that for a long, long, long time until I decided to make a big change. I was programmed to think that I couldn't succeed, and therefore I was a failure, until I started programming myself to understand anybody can succeed, and success actually isn't all that hard to acquire. So my defining moment, That's not my car. That's Anthony's car. He made that post, I think it's January 16th of 2007. So almost a little over 10 years ago. I was playing Xbox 360 up in my bedroom, right over the garage, and I heard this rumble come up the driveway, and I looked out, and that's the car I saw. My brother bought a brand spanking new Viper. Now, I worked at Best Buy for $10 an hour, and I sold printers. I also worked at a car wash for $5.15 an hour, and I washed cars, but that only lasted an afternoon. I never came back from lunch. But Anthony drove up in that car, and at this moment, I mean, everybody has their own moment, but I like that. That's kind of what it sounded like. So my parents would be very upset if he peeled a wheel in the driveway. At that very moment, though, I realized I wanted to be wealthy. I realized that I didn't want to play video games anymore. I didn't want to accept that I was a failure. I didn't want to watch my brother continue to succeed. I didn't want to have to borrow money from him to take my girlfriend on dates. All of these things that I grew up doing and, that sucked. And I went to my brother and I said, I will do whatever it takes to become wealthy because I want to buy a car just like that. And Anthony took me under his wing and he said, it's about damn time. He was tired of paying for my stuff. And he showed me how to do internet marketing. And I started making money. I made my first $45, and I was hooked. And then I made my first $100, and my first $1,000, and $12,000. Now I'm up to over $500,000 a month. And it's been a crazy ride. And I want to show you how I did it all and how I achieved success, the kid that was actually not supposed to succeed. So how my life actually turned out. I use a lot of Facebook ads. As a matter of fact, I'm one of the top spenders on the Facebook ads platform that runs an e-commerce store. So they invite me up to their offices. That's one of a very special moment in my life. I actually got to sign the Facebook wall. I have my own personal rep. I go up there all the time. I visit their offices in Toronto, Canada. That's where I work with. So really cool. And I also work with a company called Shopify doing e-commerce. And just last week, I was in New York City speaking at a private event that they put on, teaching some of their top influencers how to, better educate their students on e-commerce. So that's me, and I actually visited their offices. How many of you in here do e-commerce? Raise your hand if you do e-commerce. Wow, okay, most of you do e-commerce. Good. I love e-commerce. It changed my life. So that's me speaking at the Shopify Mastermind. Now, these are all things that if you showed my teachers in high school, they would not believe it. I used to have a different haircut, too, the old school Justin Bieber. Also, I wrote a book, and I'm going to be, I've been interviewed by Bob Proctor, and that's going to be on national television pretty soon, selling a book that I wrote, which is, I think, a pretty good book. But thank you. I look back 10 years ago, and just starting out, I never thought that I would be here. And something I learned is success doesn't happen overnight necessarily. It's something that you have to build up gradually. Because, see, I don't want to make money overnight and then be broke again in 2 days, right? I want passive income. I want recurring income. I want the money that continues to come in, that gives me longevity, stability, and security. And that's what I've been able to find with Facebook. And what I'm going to teach you today with Facebook is going to show you a way that you can market anything, anywhere, anytime, e-commerce, digital products. It doesn't matter what it is. You can use this strategy with anything. Now, for me, this strategy, it means $5 million, look, 5.6 million or something like that, in just over a year. Now, that's revenue, right? But that's dang good money. And I got a massive email list, too. My email list is almost 600,000 people. When I send out an email to my list, we'll do $20,000 a week just emailing my list, little $10 trinkets. How many of you in here would like to have an email list that would bring you passive, consistent income? Raise your hand, yes? All right, so awesome stuff. That's my favorite part about what Facebook allows me to do. Generate traffic to build a massive email list. My biggest day was November 25th, 2016. We did $44,000 in a single day in sales. Now, that's great money, but what's more impressive to me is the email list that I generated that day, because I made those sales like $10 at a time. I sell little $10 products to make $44,000 in a day. That's a lot of leads. So my 7-figure success formula. That's what I want to show and share